This is VOA News. I'm Diane Roberts. A Russian fighter jet clipped an American drone over the Black Sea Tuesday, forcing the U.S. to bring down its MQ-9 and adding to tension over Moscow's war in Ukraine. AP correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Interceptions between U.S. drones and Russian warplanes are not uncommon, but not like this. For more than half an hour, two Russian jets made several passes on the MQ-9, spraying it with fuel before colliding with the drone's rear propeller.
This MQ-9 was operating in international airspace over international waters and posed a threat to nobody.
And National Security spokesman John Kirby goes on to say,
it was an unsafe and unprofessional intercept.
But Russia's ambassador Anatoly Antonov says the drone intruded on an off-limits area.
We don't want any confrontation between the United States and Russian Federation. We are in favor of pragmatic relations.
Russia insisting it did not hit the U.S. drone, the U.S. saying the Russian pilot was just incompetent. I'm Julie Walker.
Russian President Vladimir Putin had been briefed about the Black Sea incident, according to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov on Wednesday, saying, as for bilateral relations, we know they are at their lowest point in a deplorable state. Naturally, each country will uphold its interest in dialogue. The Ukrainian military's ammunition needs will likely be high on the agenda Wednesday as U.S. defense leaders convene a meeting of defense officials from nearly 50 countries to discuss what Ukraine needs to fight off a Russian invasion. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is hosting the virtual talks from the Pentagon after several previous rounds saw the Ukraine Defense Contact Group gathering at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. This is VOA News. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Ethiopia's foreign minister, who is also a deputy prime minister, in Addis Ababa on Wednesday. VOA's Maya Misika reports.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen on Wednesday as part of his one-day working visit to the country. During brief remarks made at the start of their official meeting, Blinken sounded optimistic about the November peace deal signed between the Ethiopian federal government and Tigrayan forces.
It's very, very good to be back in Africa, especially to be in Ethiopia at, I think, a very important moment, a moment of hope, given the peace in the north that is taking hold.
Blinken added, there's a lot to be done, but the most important thing is to continue to deepen the peace that is now taking hold in the north. Maya Misika for VOA News, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Opponents of French President Emmanuel Macron's pension plan are staging a new round of strikes and protests as a joint committee of senators and lower house lawmakers examines the contested bill. VOA's Tommy McNeil has more.
The latest step in the legislative process to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 is prompting a peak of political tensions, and one key question is, will the bill command a parliamentary majority? Unions are hoping that demonstrations across the country will further show workers' massive opposition to the plan and put pressure on legislators to reject the bill. The pension plan has been promoted by Macron as central to his vision for making the French economy more competitive. Tommy McNeil, VOA News, Washington.
Honduras President Xiomara Castro says her government will seek to establish diplomatic relations with China, which would imply severing relations with Taiwan. Honduras is one of the few remaining allies of Taiwan. NASA released a new image from the James Webb Space Telescope. The AP's Ed Donahue has more.
The telescope has captured the rare and fleeting phase of a star.
The light from that star has been traveling through space for about 15,000 years.
NASA's Amber Strong says the material seen around the Wolf-Rayet star that looks like dust is dust. The star is dying.
At the end of a star's life, they shed their outer material, their outer layers out into the rest of the universe.
Shimmering in purple like a cherry blossom, the star may be dying, but the dust will live on.
Spreading out into the cosmos and will eventually create planets. And this is how we got here, in fact.
NASA says this star in the constellation Sagittarius is 30 times as massive as our sun and already has shed enough material to account for 10 suns. I'm Ed Donahue.
I'm Diane Roberts, VOA News.
Please subscribe, like, or comment. Thank you.